Hi, this is Melissa Hevenor, and this is another episode of Psychic in Your Pocket, and this is going to also be a more personal one, a question and answer Psychic in Your Pocket. So, I asked you guys on all the social medias to ask me both professional and personal questions. So, I love the questions that you guys came up with on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all over. So, thank you very much for participating, and tomorrow I will choose one of the people that asked the question and subscribe to this channel for a free 30-minute phone reading. So yay for that. And I'm going to start with the personal questions. So professional question. The first professional question is,
how do you ground yourself?
grounding is a very challenging thing, but one of the things that I like to do is actually put my feet in the grass because you want to connect with the earth. It helps you focus, and it also helps you be able to concentrate better. But I also have this amazing throw that's actually called an earthed blanket, EARTHED blanket, and it was bought for me by a great friend of mine. And it was developed in the UK, and it vibrates with the earth's energy, so it helps you connect to that energy if you don't walk on the ground. And obviously I don't walk very much on the ground, so it's a great thing to have. They are a bit pricey, but they help with pain, grounding, basically any kind of condition that you may have. They benefit and help circulation. So if you have any of those issues, or you have trouble grounding yourself if you're doing spiritual work, it's a great thing to have. So those are two of the ways that I like to ground myself. Next question.
Do fairies poop?
Somebody posted and asked, do fairies poop? Because I am Mother Fairy, and yes, they do. When they poop, it's glitter. That's what fairy poop is.
If you could have lunch with anyone who's passed, who would it be?
I would love to have lunch with so many people that have passed, and as a medium, I actually have. But if I could have lunch like I would with someone living, it would definitely be with Sylvia Brown, because I love Sylvia Brown. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to do what I do so openly. And the other one would be, well, unfortunately now it would probably be Robin Williams. And then if I picked a third one, I would definitely love to have lunch with my beloved Talia Joy.
What was your very first mediumship experience?
My very first mediumship experience actually happened at 5. And I'm going to be aging myself a little bit, but for those of you that can relate, you'll know what I'm talking about. When I was young myself, Disney every Sunday night used to come out with a Disney movie for families to watch. And Walt Disney, of course, had passed, but he always did the intro to the Disney movie, even if it was a modern one. And I loved his energy. And my aunt would always tell me, because I'd be at my great aunt's house, and she would always tell me who Walt Disney was and what an amazing man he was, and that he created Mickey Mouse and Disney World. Well, my first mediumship experience was shortly after watching a Sunday night Disney movie. Mr. Walt Disney himself popped into my bedroom. And my aunt said that she explained to me that he had passed, but she said anyone that passed still lives in our heart. And so I loved him very dearly, and I thought that if I prayed to him or talked to him in my heart, that he would come. And because I'm a medium, he actually did come, and he spoke to me, and I was about 5 years old. So of course the next Sunday when he was on TV, I told my aunt that I had met him and that he was going to be my grandpa that's in heaven. Of course, at that time, she didn't know that I was a medium, but that was indeed my first mediumship experience. And then at 7 was when my family kind of realized that this might be going on, because I had taken a walk with my grandma in the neighborhood and I saw a little girl that was dressed in a bonnet and period clothing, and I started describing what she was wearing to my grandmother, and they thought that possibly I was seeing people who had passed. So those were two very influential experiences.
Can a twin flame be on the other side?
Absolutely, a twin flame can be on the other side. A twin flame is someone who connects to your energy and almost like completes your energy. Of course, you have to be complete and content yourself to really resonate with that energy, but a twin flame definitely completes people, and that's different from a soulmate. And your twin flame can be on the other side. But the thing is, you can have more than one twin flame even in the same life. So one twin flame can be on the other side, but you can meet another person who also completes your energy and have a twin flame experience again, but that experience will not be as intense and as complete usually as the first twin flame experience. And if you've experienced being in love with one twin flame during one lifetime, you're very, very blessed.
Thank you. Are you open to spirits contacting you on a daily basis, or do you need to shut down sometimes?
Actually, I never completely shut down because I've used my abilities to connect to help me as a person with physical challenges. So my spirit guide helps me figure out how to reach things, figure out how to do things in different environments. So I have constant contact with her, which means that I'm constantly open as a channel. Now I have to raise my vibration to a certain extent to really connect with those who have crossed, but I can sense them and usually hear them regardless of what I'm doing. So the answer is no, I don't completely shut down, but I do things to unwind and kind of turn down the volume so I can rest and function in more practical sense or day-to-day life.
How did you first meet your spirit guide?
I first met my spirit guide at 4 years old. I wrote about this in detail in my book, so if you haven't read it and you'd like to understand more about my gifts or my personal experience, the book is called My Life with Robin, and you can get it online at Barnes & Nobles or Amazon. And basically, I was in a situation where I was by myself and feeling very lonely, and she came in to comfort me. And that's when I first connected with her and realized that we have a connection with divine energy when we're open to it and when we have the ability to sense that connection. We all have it, but we have different degrees of being able to connect to that vibration.
What is different about being a psychic medium versus your original background as a therapist?
This is an interesting question, and it could get me in a little bit of trouble, but I always used my psychic ability and mediumship when I was a therapist. So it's not like I was one job or the other. They always were combined together. Of course, as a therapist, you're using more of your logic, and I learned and used a lot of my academia and things that I learned in school, but I always looked at the aura. I always looked at people's energy. So I was always sensing that as much as also working with what I had learned through school. So they really complemented each other. I guess the biggest difference is with therapy, you have to write in-length reports and document everything. And in psychic mediumship, there's more of a healing process that happens all at once because you give the information, you connect with that person, and they either take it and it helps them, or they take it and it helps them when they're able to take it all in or absorb it. But it definitely, the healing happens quicker, but they were never completely separated. So if someone came in with a substance or addiction disorder, I could look at their aura and know what substances they had been addicted to based on how it affected their aura. even if they were clean, you could still see remnants of evidence of an aura that had been disrupted from some type of addiction. So again, it definitely helped me in the therapy world.
Okay. If you could have any other job in the world, what would it be?
This is a tricky one because many of you know me as a psychic medium, but I also have a huge passion for theater, for movies, and for writing. So if I wasn't a full-time psychic medium and something that I also do, I would be a full-time writer for television because I love writing comedy. And I would basically, hopefully, make lots and lots of money doing that. So then I would still do readings, but I would do all the readings for free. In fact, I would prefer to do all my readings for free and just be completely of service. But unfortunately, I haven't gotten to the point financially where I can do that. But I do give you my word on screen, on film, that once I'm able to make the kind of money where I can offer those services, I will always continue doing readings until I take my last breath, and I will do them for free.
What is one of the most exciting experiences you've had as a psychic medium?
One of the most exciting experiences I've actually had, there's two. But on a professional basis, I did a reading for someone and they asked me how much I charged, and I told them, and this person made quite a bit of money, so money was like no object. And when I told them how much I charged, they basically said, "Oh, nonsense," and they handed me a lot of money, and it paid my rent for quite a long time. So that was super exciting experience because one, I'd never seen that much money all at once before, and I couldn't believe it was just handed to me. And the other experience on a more spiritual level that was, for me, mind-blowing is when I went to visit the UK in 2008, and I had a connection with Princess Diana, who I loved tremendously as a person and for what she stood for. And I was able to see her and have a conversation with her in my hotel room, but also in St. Paul's Cathedral, where she wanted to have her wedding. So yes, those were my two most exciting experiences.
Okay.
So now I'm going to go to more personal and somewhat fun questions. So hopefully you're still paying attention and you're enjoying this, and we'll go to more personal ones.
If you could have any other job in the world, I did that, I'm sorry. What's the most challenging thing about having a disability?
The most challenging thing about having a disability, I would say, is actually realizing how the United States, lots of the areas of the United States, even Florida, where there's a lot of elderly population and also war vets coming back, is not wheelchair accessible. Does not have wheelchair access. Even a federal building where I had to be drug tested before I did therapy work with young children, you have to be drug tested, was not wheelchair accessible and was not accommodating. So for me, being a person of service who not only wants to serve humanity and serve people doing the spiritual work, but also when I was in the therapy arena, not being able to do something as simple as getting a urine sample in a building where they do drug testing so I could be a therapist in the United States was quite frustrating to me. And being lucky enough to travel to the UK, which is extremely wheelchair friendly, where every cab has a ramp for the wheelchair to get up into. Every bus is wheelchair accessible. Every building has ramps. Even Shakespeare's birthplace, one of the oldest buildings on the planet, they made wheelchair accessible. And Australia is extremely wheelchair friendly and accommodating. If they're not wheelchair friendly, the people there are so gracious. They were more than willing to help and not afraid of being sued, like that can happen in the United States. So that definitely is the most frustrating. I believe the other part of the question is what's, I guess, a positive thing about being disabled. I think a lot of you will be surprised, but if I had a choice tomorrow to take a pill and not be physically disabled, I wouldn't take it. Because I believe that my purpose here on the planet is to serve as somebody in a wheelchair, to show it doesn't matter what cards you're dealt or what limitations you have, you can overcome them and you can be a happy person. And I think that part of my strong connection with spirit is because I do have mobility limitations. So I see my disability as a blessing, and I would not change it for the world.
Thank you. How do you stay so positive and upbeat?
That's a good question following that one. Basically, because I know that there's an afterlife and because I know that I have a spirit guide, I know a lot of people send me questions or say it's really easy for you to feel connected because you do have that close bond with your spirit guide. But the truth of the matter is we all have a spirit guide. And I know that because when I meet people, I can see the spirit guide. So everyone has one. And just knowing that we have a companion that's there to help us, even if we can't sense them, just knowing that they're there helps me to feel supported. I also do things every day to raise my vibration. No matter how down I am, I listen to music, which is a huge motivator for me and lifts my vibration. To pull me out of that funk or that sadness, music is like a lifesaver. I'm very big into meditation. I don't necessarily have to meditate to connect to spirit, but I meditate to refocus my mind, to raise my vibration, and to stay positive. But the biggest thing is I give out a lot of love, and when you project out a lot of love to people, sincerely and authentically from your heart, it really does come back. So one of the key points is to think positively. Even if you start to have a negative thought about yourself, change that thought into something positive, because at least you're still here to have that thought. You're able to have the cognition to have that thought. And right now you have the technology to watch this video. So there's always blessings in your life, and try to make that the focal point of every day. And that will help you to stay positive.
What were some of your most challenging experiences and how did you get through them?
This is a big question because as a spiritual person, I think there's lots and lots of challenges that we are given, all of us, but I think particularly those of us who serve as a spiritual person of guidance or spiritual teacher, we're given many tests to help us grow spiritually, I believe, more rapidly than a lot of people. So one of the most challenging things I faced was probably last January. I lost my house. That was huge for me because I'd had a very successful time with working, as a clinician, as a therapist, and I made really good money, and so I had a beautiful house that I was very, very proud of, and I lost that house because I wasn't able to work as consistently. There was a lot of funding that was cut, and I had to live off my savings, and then once that savings was gone, I did lose my house. But I was also doing readings on the side at that time. I wasn't doing it full time as I am now. And basically that was my saving grace, but I knew that that was also my sort of push from spirit, or kick in the tush from spirit, that I needed to be doing this full time. And I really wouldn't have been doing this life purpose work full time if that hadn't happened. Now, I lost my job as a therapist 3 years ago, but I was still able to sustain from savings until last January. I did lose my home, but I had a dear friend who was gracious enough to let me move in with them, and I'm working towards getting my own place again. Yay for that. But that was definitely one of the most challenging, but it also helped me to be even more grateful, and it helped me realize that there was a new chapter just waiting to be open, and it changed the focus of my work completely to be connected to spirit and doing this work. So even that was a blessing, but that was definitely one of the most hardest. The other thing would be a majority of my family is in heaven. So just not having the physical presence of family to support you is hard, but I've been blessed with individuals and friends who've come in and been that family support system. So God and the universe always provides, but of course you want the physical hugs from a mother. You want to be able to pick up the telephone and hear the voice. So that does get hard, particularly around the holidays. But I've learned to make my home, wherever it is, have an open door policy on Christmas, and it's a huge celebration with friends and chosen family. So those would definitely be two of the hardest things.
What was the best job you've ever had?
The best job I ever had, you guys are going to like this. I played Ariel. Yes, Ariel, the Little Mermaid, Disney's Ariel. I, for a semester, worked as Ariel in Disney World, and I wasn't able to be in all the parades because of the wheelchair, and because the floats are very high. But I did all the voiceovers for Ariel, and I used to, for extra money, I started my own little business, and I would call up mostly little girls, but sometimes boys on their birthday, usually between the ages of 3 to, I'd say, 10 was the oldest. Parents would arrange for me to call, and they would get a birthday call from Ariel, and I would say, "Hi, it's Ariel, happy birthday," and I'd have to sing her song, "Part of Your World," and the kids would go crazy, and I made really good money doing that. So that was indeed one of the most fun jobs I ever had.
If you could meet anyone famous, who would it be and why?
I love this question. I've actually been blessed with meeting many celebrities and actually being friends and clients with them. So I've met many, but one person I would love to meet, she's a YouTube sensation, and that is Candy Johnson, because I love makeup and she teaches about that, but she's a bubbly little bumblebee of a person with lots of style, lots of pizzazz. I would love to meet her. And the other person that I would love to just sit down and hang with would be Katy Perry, because she's all into love and light, and she's an amazing songwriter. So those two would be right up there. Big.
What do you know about your past lives?
This is a really interesting question. I've had several past life readings. One of my most influential past lives, I was actually a princess in India, a very high royalty princess, and apparently my father, the king, was a bit of a hard guy to deal with, and he wasn't good to the people at the time, and so I did a lot of charity and helping people, and I would literally hide or disguise that I was royalty so that I could help the people that were struggling. That's a big past life that had significance, I've been told, on this life. And the other one that's really quite big is I actually was in the Orient. I think it was actually more Tibet, and I was a monk, like bald with the robes, everything. And I was a teacher, and I had several people that I actually call my soul family who live in Australia. Like, we have a connection now, and they live in Australia, and they were part of my either family or just team of people that taught and we were monks together. And so I think that no matter the distance between us, we have that soul connection because of that important past life.
When you fall in love, do you fall in love with someone's energy, aura, spirit guide, or personality, or a combination?
Really good question. This is a bit of a tricky question, and that is because obviously as a sensitive person, I do sense people's energy and I can sense their aura. But if I'm physically attracted to them, I can't see their aura as much because of the physical attraction. Also, I could be drawn to them because we had a past life connection. A lot of times that happens. But I do fall in love with people's energy and with the connection that I feel with them. And I don't share this very often, but I can equally fall in love with a man as I can a woman, and I have. So I definitely fall in love with energy, but I also have specific physique that I like from both genders that I'm attracted to as well. So I do think the spiritual part of it comes in, but then there's the human part of it as well. And I can say I like men and women equally, and I have had equal experiences falling in love.
If you could wake up tomorrow and have your dream life or dream job, what would that be and why?
My dream job would be writing for my own sitcom, which is going to happen. It's not going to be a dream. It is going to happen, mark my words. And writing for my own sitcom and then doing readings still as often as I can for free for everyone from every socioeconomic background, everything, traveling the world basically and doing readings and hands-on healing.
What's your favorite movie?
Oh, this is hard because, as I said, I'm a writer, and so I've written a lot of screenplays, so it's really hard for me to just watch a movie and see the movie because I see all the technical stuff and I visualize the script in my mind. So it becomes this whole process, not only aesthetically enjoying what I'm watching, but mentally figuring out how it was put together and all of that. One of my all-time favorite movies is Fried Green Tomatoes because of the strong women in that story and because of the richness of the Southern hospitality, which I grew up in a lot with my great aunts who did a lot of raising of me. So I love that movie. Let's see. And E.T. I love E.T. because I do believe that there are extraterrestrials out there that are much more loving than we are. They just haven't made themselves fully be known because they're afraid they would come down here, be different, and be slaughtered. So I love E.T. as well as far as a childhood movie. And then, of course, probably half the little girls my age in this world, Annie, the original Annie with Carol Burnett, is way up there because I love Carol Burnett. And I actually got to play Annie when I was 11 years old for a short time on an East Coast tour. And they built a special stage that had clear rods on the set that I could hold on to. And so the audience did not know that I was in a wheelchair until the end when they pushed me out. And I did my bow from my wheelchair and the audience stood up. It was a standing ovation, and I got letters for months about how that impacted them and how they didn't realize I had a physical disability, and it changed the way that they saw somebody with a disability. And so I want to be able to have that impact now with the platform that I have and with the work that I do.
What's your favorite food?
I'm a foodie. If you follow me on Instagram, you know because I take pictures of all kinds of food. So I love food. I definitely see it as an art form. I would also like to meet Gordon Ramsay because, one, I think he's cute. Two, I love his attitude and he seems like he has a big heart. So I just like to say that. But I love sushi. I could eat sushi every day, morning, noon, and night. And also, Starbucks! I should be the poster child for Starbucks. I like caramel macchiatos. I like frappuccinos. I like cafe latte. I like their teas. I like everything about Starbucks.
Why did why did you first get an interest in makeup, and how does that impact you spiritually?
I have always had an interest in makeup. For many years, I refused to wear a lot of makeup because I did a lot of modeling as a child for Toys R Us. I did a lot of modeling for Sears. I did a lot of modeling for different toy brands, for equal opportunity things, because I grew up in Washington, D.C., so they were big in inclusion of children with disabilities for companies and different school programs. So I did modeling for all of that, and I had to wear makeup all the time for photo shoots and also for the things that I did in theater as Annie and all of that. So I did not like having makeup and thick foundation on my face for many years, other than when I was performing. So I kind of developed an aversion to makeup for a while. But then as I got older, I saw it as an art form, and I saw how it was used on the sets in Los Angeles to create these characters, and it reignited my love for makeup. And I've always had it, but because of my cerebral palsy, I can't use both of my hands equally. And even though my left hand is almost not affected, I still have trouble holding it steady, like to do eyeliner. Because I would love to do a winged eyeliner look, but I just can't steadily hold it to do that. But I have developed the passion again, and I will say my age because several of you asked. I'm 38 years old, or 38 years young, and proud of it. And so I've now gotten to an age where I really don't care what people think about my makeup, or if I choose a crazy color for my hair or my body size. I'm just going to be who I am and spread love and use makeup to express my personality and hopefully inspire others to really come into their own and use it as expression. So that's why I've been posting a lot about makeup, and I love Candy Johnson.
What are you spiritually?
What am I spiritually?
Are you a spiritualist?
That is a bit of a question. I guess you'd say, a spiritual nut. I grew up Christian in a Protestant household, went to church, was very, very much a believer in God, will always be a believer in God. But I also had these spiritual experiences that I knew went beyond what the Bible would tell you. And so I knew that there was more than that out there. And I lived in Los Angeles for quite some time in my younger years, and Kabbalah was getting very big at that time, and it resonated very deeply with me because I found out later in my life that my grandfather was Jewish, and I didn't have the chance to meet him while he was living, but I found out that he did have a Jewish background, and so that also made me very interested in Judaism. And of course, Kabbalah is the mystic side of Judaism, so it allowed me to still embrace my Christian background, but also embrace the part of me that resonated with Judaism and the traditions. And so now I would definitely call myself a Kabbalist, but I also believe in Jesus, and I believe that he was a healer, and I believe that, he's a very anointed person, or deity, if you want to call it that. I definitely embrace Judaism and Christianity equally, and so Kabbalah works for me. And I've studied it in great lengths on all levels. I actually got to what they call the highest level as far as studying the courses, and they wanted me to start teaching Kabbalah. But I believe personally you can never master something like your spirituality, and you can never be a master of spirituality, so I didn't feel comfortable teaching Kabbalah as a master because it's something I could never actually master. But I do enjoy being a spiritual teacher and helping people connect to the divine.
What's your favorite kind of music?
I love this question. Music is my meditation. I love all kinds of music. My favorite music is pop music. I love Katy Perry to pieces. I love all of her songs. I particularly like her latest album, Prism, because it touches on so many different aspects of spirituality. I also love Demi Lovato, and I'm going to her concert soon. I can't wait! I love her lyrics. Because I am a writer, I have a passion for writing songs. So words in songs to me are like butter. You gotta have like really good words to make a song, no matter how amazing the beat is. But my favorite is pop music. And then I think my all-time, if I could meet any musician and sit down and just pick their creative brain, it would have to be Barbra Streisand. And I know there's a lot of rumors that she may be difficult or that she's an amazing person. Of course, when you've been a legend as long as she has, there's going to be good stories, bad stories, and everything in between. I don't care about that. The bottom line is the woman is an amazing musician. She can write music, she can sing like nobody else, and she can put the whole package together. So I will forever be a Barbra Streisand fan, and Katy Perry at the moment, and Demi Lovato, but you name it. I love anything with a good beat and good lyrics. And I also like Christian rock music too. Go figure.
Thank you so much.
Yay! So I hope you guys have gotten to know a little bit more about me, and I will definitely do another question and answer if you enjoyed this video. And as always, you can continue to leave comments below my videos on YouTube, and I will do a vlog or a blog on video and answer those questions. And until next time, love, light, and blessings. Bye!